Welcome, everyone, to another edition of our Cornhole Insider video podcast. Joel Karnick here, along with Mr. Al Baghdadi there. Al Murphy, how you doing, Al?
Good evening.
Yeah, and Trevor Kufis is going to be joining us, talking a little ACL and the pro. And Trevor, thanks for being a part of the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. We're going to get to you in just a second here, Trevor, but we're going to talk first of all. Mr. Al Baghdadi, give a quick plug. We're going to go into detail at the end of the event here.
The Restore You Classic.
The Restore You Classic, it's huge.
June 10th and 11th, Park Falls, Wisconsin. Friday night switch holio, Saturday singles, and bring your own partner doubles. The purse is at $2,300 guaranteed for the bring your own partner doubles. $1,000 for first place. And
awesome.
One thing, every time when we mention our sponsors, one group that I forget to thank is the Price Ice for letting us use the ice arena there.
Yep, lots of room there, and they have the concession stand, so we appreciate that very much. We're going to go into more detail, and again, we've got, I think, 37 singles players signed up, so at $30 a pop there, the singles top
38 now.
Top 2 or 3 are going to take home some nice cash. Even the switch holio Friday night, we have a lot of people signed up, so hotels right by the arena. We'll even shuttle you back and forth if you need to. Sign up on Scoreholio. It's under Restore You, RESTORU. There you go. Park Falls, Wisconsin. Register in there. You don't have to prepay, but if you're thinking about coming, jump in there. If you decide not to, just take yourself out of there. But teams are already, I think we're probably going to end up with almost twice as many as we
28 signed up right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. And we'll thank some of our sponsors coming up. I want to thank Ruthless Bags. You see them in the background right here, sponsors of myself and my son, and check them out at ruthlessbags.com. We've got some special stuff coming through Ruthless Bags and a special promo code for you guys to save a couple bucks on some of their bags. And Blake and I will have them with us at tournaments here real soon. Cisco is in the process of getting us all those bags. So some pretty cool stuff coming with Ruthless, and my son and I are real thrilled to be jumping on board with them, easing into it this summer, and then jumping in next year with the ACO season. All right, well, let's have a chat here with Mr. Young Trevor Kufis. Trevor, thank you for joining us. And you are first year here, right, of your ACL Pro career. Is that right?
Yeah, this is my first ACL Pro season. I've been with the ACL now playing tournaments regularly for, I believe this is my 4th season. I could be wrong. It's either 3rd or 4th.
Okay. All right. And you live, what town do you call home down there?
Currently Slinger. It's 40 minutes northwest of Milwaukee. During the school year, though, I'm down at UW Whitewater going for a degree in music ed.
All right. Fantastic. And that crew down there is building big time too. Not in the Milwaukee area, but Mad City Cornhole and Madison. The amount of throwers down there, not only really good players like you, but some of the social players. The groups are really growing down there, aren't they?
Absolutely. I didn't go to Madison for a while since I didn't realize how close it was. I thought it was further away. It turns out it's only 45-minute drive from Whitewater, so that's not that bad. I haven't gone to any of the Milwaukee events yet that some of those guys are running in New Berlin, but that is growing at a ridiculous, even faster than Madison has been growing. They've upwards of 60 players a week. And I also frequent on Wednesday nights. I go down to Janesville. Chris Kahn is doing a wonderful job down there at Emmy's, putting on a blind draw for some of us near to the border.
Yeah. Let's talk about your journey into this sport. When did you start playing, Trevor? And kind of talk about the progression of how you started and right up to being an ACL Pro.
Ooh, so it may be a little bit of a shorter journey than some other people have gone through.
Yeah,
everybody's different. Some people, like, especially I think of PGA, like it could take you years and years to get your pro card, and then you have to keep it. It's turning into the same thing with the ACL. But I mainly started in the backyard, playing at family reunions and such like that. And turns out Jared and I were like, yeah, we're pretty good. So we decided to go to a local tournament just about 10 minutes away from us. Not ACL or anything, but there were a couple guys that did play in the ACL tournament there. So it was Joe Lake, Jason Graff, and we didn't end up winning the tournament, but they approached us afterward and they're like, "Hey, you're pretty good. How about you come and play with some other people in this thing called the ACL?" It wasn't as large as it is now, but it was certainly well past getting its feet under it. And we went to a couple of regionals, kept playing, met Josh Keck, who is now national director, runs most of the pro tournaments, helps out and stuff like that. And so did that, went to regional, started going to a conference events. So our conference is Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. It's the biggest state out of the four of them is either Illinois or Michigan. It goes back and forth between how many pros are in each state. Right. But so conference tournaments, and then this past season, the ACL started the open events, which took place in the nationals. The nationals are now pro only. But yeah, started going to conference tournaments and just getting my feet under me, and we kept winning. I still haven't won a conference tournament, but just going through the motions and going to tournaments, finding my place in this whole thing, getting better. You play against better people, you get better. And this past season, the family took a trip down to Rock Hill for the World Championships. I attempted to qualify through the pro qualifier down there, came up 2 games short. I was 6-2 after the round robin format, and I needed to win two games in a row, and I came up short in the first one. Guy was on fire, but so then it was announced that there was a conference pro qualifier. Each of the 14 conferences would get their own pro qualifier. Anybody from within the conference could show up, and I showed up on that day. It was September 11th of last year. Interesting day to do it, but showed up, and I believe I went 10. I went like 9-1 or 10-1 on the day, and I won that one. Right. 6 games around robin, went 5-1, and then won 4 games straight to take it. And that's how I qualified to be pro.
That gave you your pro status. Now, once you become a pro in the ACL, there's obviously a commitment, especially being up here. There's a lot of traveling, unlike the ACO, which kind of has some more friendly travel time places around the Midwest. ACL, you're putting in a lot of travel time. There's a financial commitment. So I'm sure there was a discussion, Trevor, with you and your dad, your family about, can we make this? I'm a college student. Can we make this actually go, right?
Yeah, that is certainly one of the, I don't want to call it an obstacle, but it is one of the things you have to think about. First off, I'm if I can't say this, I'll double check. But as a pro, we have to pay a fee. It is an $1,000 fee, which covers our entries into the 4 national tournaments, and if we want to play in any of the pro blind draws that happen at the nationals. That doesn't cover any of our travel costs whatsoever. So we pay for all our own travel, and the sponsors cover it for us. And yeah, everything's certainly more spaced out than, I've seen a lot of ACL. You guys come to Beloit every year, and I was actually at Beloit last year. I decided to show up, see what it was like. I know you guys run stuff up by you guys all the time, but yeah, ACL is certainly a little more sparse. It's really in the state of Wisconsin and some of the other, like near the Canadian border, there's not as much ACL. You'll find the main hubs for ACL in Virginia, along the East Coast, and along the West Coast as well, like Arizona, California, things like that. It's not quite caught on in Wisconsin yet. We only have me and Steve. Certainly a good showing at this point.
Yeah. We're talking with Trevor Kufis, who is an ACL Pro, first year. in the ACL circuit and some of the opens and stuff like that. Al, anything you want to jump in there on?
Well, my audio seems to be going in and out here, so I'm not really catching everything here. It's like I hear you and then it's gone and then it's back and then it's gone. But you're a full-time college student, right, Trevor?
Yeah. Not
How-
right now,
so
just
how
finished
is-
up for the year.
Yeah.
How has that been working that into your ACL schedule? Has that been tough finding the time to practice and go to tournaments?
Yeah, it's a little bit of an obstacle. I'd certainly like my weekends to be less stressful, but it's like, oh, got another tournament. All right, let's go and play. It's certainly one of the more fun things I can do on the weekends. But yeah, with schoolwork, that is the other big obstacle, especially as a music major. I am doing stuff and practicing all the time. You'll hear other pros and say, especially the ones that get up on the ESPN, they have the little blurb of how long they've been playing. And one of the main things they put on there is how much they practice each week. During the summer, I'm like most of the others. I am practicing 4 to 5 days a week. And because I can fit that, I can do it. During the school year, I'm lucky if I can get outside at night. If it's a nice night, it's not humid or anything, which would suck for trying to practice because the bags aren't going to act the way you want them to.
Did that today.
But yeah, during the school year, I lucky if I get 2 days a week, which it's not where I want to be, but it is what it is for the moment until I can offload some of the homework, get it done a little sooner. I am a serial procrastinator. I'm not afraid to admit it. I am attempting to fix it. So,
well, I think,
is,
looking at Trevor, how you've done in some of for a first year ACL Pro, I know you want to win every match, but with the competition being so intense, you've had some pretty good success. You've done some pretty good things in there and had some nice wins. You got to be, somewhat happy with the way that you played in this field.
Absolutely. I can even just get into a little bit of what the experience was like showing up at the first national in Vegas. It was a lot of stress and a lot of, am I going to do good? A lot of self-doubt in a sense. It's hard not to have that self-doubt, but I've realized now that you can't have that self-doubt. You have to go in and say, I belong here. I qualified. Let's go. I can take on anybody. But I had that self-doubt and I only won a single game in Vegas in singles. And that was in the stack bracket, which is it's a whole nother thing. If you want me to go into it, I can. But I was no longer in the main 64 person bracket. I was fighting for a low spot in the bracket. So that hurt a lot, and that made me doubt myself even more. It's like if I can barely piece together one win, why am I going to these other 3? Why am I going to the Worlds?
Sure.
But I realized after a while is I wasn't throwing the way I wanted to. I never really felt comfortable. And I learned, like I said, I have to just go for it. And I did. I did it in Atlantic City. I ended up 3rd in my bracket out of 4 brackets, which is a tie for 9th.
Yeah.
And that made me feel so much better. Another thing, once you get the stress off of you, the next thing that's stressful is, can I keep competing at this level? Can I do it again? Or am I looking back on how I played? It's like, did I play that well? Did I get lucky? I feel like there's a lot of luck involved. Once you get to the higher skill levels, there's less involved. But at the same time, we have a ginormous stat database now, where you can look back at a game and see what was my average, what was my opponent's average, and round by round, you can almost picture it back in your head. What happened is like, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. And I don't know if anybody saw it. from that watches this podcast, but I made a post the weekend. No, it was the Wednesday before I went to Salt Lake, which was 2 weekends ago now.
Yeah, I saw it.
And yeah, the start of that post was me saying I have a borderline social media addiction, and it's getting in the way of my homework, which also doesn't help when you only have 2 weeks a day to practice, two days a week to practice. And so that was the whole thing. But the second half of that post, okay, a little bit of shade. I said I wasn't going to throw around much, but there's going to be a little bit. The second half of that post was me that night. I was trying to get some homework done, and I was listening to the bracket review of Salt Lake. And one of the main media guys, Bernie, brought up my name for about 2 seconds. And then Trey and Bernie talked for about 15 seconds about how they had no idea how I got to third place in my bracket. And that lit a small fire under me, let's just say. And so that blew up my confidence going into Salt Lake. And I looked back at some of my averages from the second national, and I was like, the average doesn't mean a whole lot. And
Exactly.
I can be fine. Yeah, if I win a game, I win a game. That's what it is. Winning is the most important stat. Do you need a good average to win games against most pros? Yes. But if you catch somebody on an off game, you also don't have to be on your best game. You just need to be better. And so that's the main thing I've been focusing on is,
all right, go ahead, Darryl.
can I keep my head in?
I would
the
say
game?
just from watching you play, I would describe you as more of a strategic player and not a hole for hole player. That you're kind of a student of the game is what I would call it. That you really understand the strategy of it.
I would call myself that as well. I would ideally like to go hole for hole with how many people are doing it these days. Just bags are getting faster and faster. And people are finding ways to play faster bags, even though they have a low throw. I can think of one. I was playing for 7th place in Salt Lake, and I played against Connie Altice, somebody who throws Cornhole scenario bags, one of the really fast ones that they have, the Cat 3s. And the boards had gotten slow at that point, and she was just throwing slick side about probably about chest height. Just dead straight at the hole, and she threw like over a 9.5, and I was like, I couldn't put down a block, and that's what screwed me in that game.
Yeah,
but I'd love to be able. My ideal game is just going hole for hole, going around a block, and just saying I don't care. What happens most times is I'd like to go hole for hole, but I will choose a bag especially for singles, that if I'm throwing the way I want to throw, sometimes I'd like it to creep into the hole. Slow speed, just eases up there and drops in. I never like to rocket a bag into the hole or loft it really high. Although at Madison Monday night, you would say the opposite. But sometimes that bag doesn't quite get all the way to the hole, and it ends up being an amazing block. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens this round, and see if I can get a couple points going here. So I would call myself a student of the game. I roughly know what to do when the boards are dirty, and I can pull points out of places that I feel like most other people couldn't.
Yeah. We're with ACL Pro Trevor Kuffuss. I want to remind our people, give you a little break here, Trevor, but I want to remind folks that before I forget is that we do have our Game Changer bag giveaway. Frank Modlin gave us some Game Changers. So comment or subscribe in there to be eligible for that. We'll do that probably right around Memorial Weekend. give away some game changer bags courtesy of Frank Modeling. And also hit subscribe. That's all we ask of you guys. You're not going to be bugged by us. We're not going to knock on your door at midnight and ask you if you want to buy something. It's just hit subscribe, and whenever we post a video, it shows up on there. Trevor, we appreciate you joining us. You have a very methodical type throw. I remember when I saw you last, I think it was at I think
Probably Atlantic
I think
City.
it was a Ryder Cup. I saw you there.
Oh, Ryder Cup, yeah.
You're a very slow, methodical thrower. I always tell my son, I always tell him probably 50 times in a tournament, I got to slow down. I got to slow down. I keep telling him I got to play more methodical. But you are a very methodical player. You'll step back, you'll step forward. That pacing, was that something you changed to? And you think that's a very important part of a person's game, is that pacing that you have?
That is a really good. I've also been told by a couple other people, either slow down or I really like your approach. The drive home from you saw me at Ryder Cup, but I believe it was Badger State when I first started doing that.
Okay.
And I was playing in you videotaped my final against Maggie.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was probably when I was playing the slowest, and I carried that into Atlantic City when I did very well. I'd like to be more methodical, and I like thinking about things. However, if I'm in the groove, I'm in the groove, and I'll just keep throwing.
Sure.
But yeah, I like thinking. It's a way to calm myself down. I do get in trouble for it sometimes, where I'll think about something too much, and then halfway through a throw, I'll say, no, do the other thing, and then it'll be terrible. and I'm like, I don't know if you saw me doing it, but I'll put my hand on it, I'll hit my hand or something. It's like, but why'd you do that? It's almost like in a way that stepping back forward is a reset. It's like reset. Okay, you're done. All right,
sure.
let's try this again. So yeah, I really liked doing that. It was good it was almost in a paradoxical sense, an inconsistent rhythm that really clicked with me. And I think more people can do that and be okay with it than you realize.
You started backyard, like a lot of our people watching right now. A lot of people who watch this are, social intermediate type players. So, and you've made a rather rapid advance to being an ACL Pro. So give us a couple of things that maybe you think are important as far as people getting better. We've all played with those people who just really love the game. They, you see them, they just can't quite find that rhythm. They can't flatten out their bag. So give us a couple of things for those players that they should really focus on first, to take that game maybe to a next level and maybe be where you are someday.
So the first thing I'd say, and I've certainly discovered this in the past couple of years, is that failure is okay. Everybody's going to fail. You're not going to win a tournament. It's going to feel terrible when you don't win that tournament and you're expecting to. Maybe that's different for every people. Is like, and on a blind draw night, I didn't want to go 0-2, but I went 0-2. It happens. And so accepting failure and saying, okay, but what did I do good? And if you can take away the things that you felt like you did good, that is more valuable than anything, really. If you can look at failure and say, but I did that, and I'm going to keep doing that, you're slowly going to build to where failure, it's not obsolete, but you become more consistent. And I think consistency is the biggest obstacle in the face of going from mid-high advanced to pro.
Yeah.
A lot of, especially in Wisconsin and like Chicago, a lot of even low advanced players can compete with me on a daily basis. They'll show up and they'll give me a good game, and I'll attempt to give them a good game. If I'm not having a bad game, it's whatever. It happens. But being able to, and I think you said, like, student of the game and thinking and stuff like that, is I am prepared to play the long game. I will go 30 rounds. I hate going 30 rounds, but I will do it. I've had some of my best games and the most fun games I've played. I have gone 30 rounds. And I think people need to be more prepared to do that. There, especially once you get to the higher level, nobody's just going to lay down in front of you and say, hit me. No, nobody's going to do that. I'm certainly not going to do it for you. You signed up for the tournament. You're getting what you're going to get. So the biggest things for me, failure and being okay with it and looking at the positives of failure. You can still say I sucked, and that's okay, but you need to take something away from it.
Yeah.
Working on consistency, whether it be in the backyard, just throwing and playing games with somebody. And then I think also getting out, going and asking questions. I think one of the best quotes I've ever heard was, "It's the people that ask the questions that are the smartest." And if you don't allow yourself to ask questions to people like me, or even I can think of so many people in the state of Wisconsin that can give an amazing answer to a question. If you're not prepared to ask the questions to the people to get better, you're not going to get better. You're not going to be able to figure out how they do it. And so say go to a blind draw and you're interested in a certain kind of bag that you want to try. Ask around. Somebody's bound to have something close to that bag, and just say, "Hey, can I try it?" And unless the guy is super drunk or the girl is super drunk, I mean, you're bound to say yes. And you need to allow yourself to gather as much information as possible.
Right.
And that's a way that you can overall pick out stuff is like, I like this, I like this, I like this, and just keep fighting.
And I've always thought,
Trevor,
I've always thought it's very important to pick your spots to have some fun too, whether, maybe you got a blind draw or a switch holio going on in your town. It's all right. Even if you're a really good player, it's all right to show up and not be playing at that pro level, but just have fun sometime. Pick your spots, because that's how we all started out, right? Is playing in the backyard, maybe with our dad or whatever, and having fun. So every once in a while, you got to give your brain a little bit of a break and just go have a little fun. So what if maybe if you lose to somebody you haven't lost, you shouldn't lose to? Sometimes you got to just give your mind a little break, right?
Yeah. I'm certainly one of the more competitive people that anybody will ever meet, but I do like being able to go to Monday nights in Madison and Wednesday nights in Janesville. And so, I know I'm here for practice. I know I'm here for, game time decisions and such like that. But it's much different competing against my friends than competing against the wealth of ACL pros and everything they can do. I'm not saying my friends can't do what they can do, because I can name a few that definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
But it is such an amazing atmosphere to be able to show up, put in a little bit of money, something on the line, and have fun with your friends. It's certainly given me a break from being on campus. It's like, I don't want to do homework. Hey, Janesville, I can go to Janesville tonight.
It's a good break. Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Al, anything you got over there, bud?
No, we still have room in the Restore You Classic for you, Trevor, if you guys want to come up and play.
I've been checking the schedule. There's either there's a grad party that somebody asked us to come to. We're still thinking about that. We don't know yet, but we'll certainly let you know if Jared and I can make it. We'd love to play in it. It sounds like it'd be a really fun time.
You coming over to Broadfest there in Mad City?
That is
Memorial
May?
Memorial weekend. Yeah, the Sunday of Memorial weekend. I think that's the 30th or something like that. 29th. Yeah.
I think I'd be able to make that.
Come on over.
I haven't signed up for it yet.
All right. Well, Trevor, it's been a great story, not only for you, but your brother and your dad too, and all you guys do to promote cornhole. You guys do a great job down there. And, whenever you guys, you and Schrader and any of our guys from the Midwest are traveling to these tournaments, know that we're watching, we're online, we're watching the scores. Everybody's rooting for you guys on the side a little bit, as are a lot of people I know when we travel to ACO majors and stuff like that. So know that, there's that support system there, that there's people rooting for you back here, because man, that you get to those big tournaments, those opens for the ACLs and majors in the ACO, they are mentally draining. And just that little message I think you get sometimes from somebody, from a fellow player, just saying, hey, nice game. That's kind of nice to see after you come off a tough win sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. I know, like, after my third place performance, I guess tied ninth place performance in Atlantic City, a couple people were messaging me just like, yeah, keep going, you got this. And although sometimes my phone wouldn't get it, and then I get it after the tournament's done and be like, no, I would have liked that earlier. But yeah, after you get consistent and you're ready to perform at the highest level, the only thing in the way is the brain. And part of that, yes, it's very mentally taxing, especially like national tournaments or open tournaments. Open tournaments are pretty much national, but anybody can play.
Right.
Anybody can show up, anybody can play. Names at that point, especially in the pro division, names too. But yeah, open weekends will usually, there'll be something going on Friday night at the venue. It'll be some like 6 p.m. big blind draw. Anybody can get in. And usually Saturday morning, Saturday is doubles and the rounders, which you get placed for doubles.
Right.
They did it differently last year, where rounders would also determine your tier for singles, but they changed it to where singles you play at your level. But yeah, rounders often starts whatever time zone you're in. It'll start 9 a.m. local time, which is crazy early for some people, which is understandable. But we have you got like 200 some teams in a building, and you have to get through them all. Everybody has to play 6 games. So you have to start early. It sucks a lot of the time, but you got to find a way. And so I guess I should explain a little bit some of the rounders. It's described as progressive round robin, because there's no way you're playing every team. It's not happening. You need like a month to do that, within decent time constraints. So there usually ends up being 6 rounds. And in your first round, you get paired against somebody random, any team in the building. So when the worst team gets paired up against the best team, it's just how we do it. It happens. But the next, your next 5 games are then you play teams with a similar record to you. So you play against other teams that are doing just about as well as you on the day. Okay. And then it evens out.
Okay.
So all the opens I've gone to, we've either gone 6-0 or 5-1, 4-2, and that usually qualifies for tier 1, which is you get the most points available, the payouts are the highest,
right,
and such. Then there's usually a tier 2 and a tier 3, which are less payouts, you get less points, and so it really disincentivizes sandbagging. But at the same time, you get put in a, this is my favorite part of it, you get put in a division based on how you're doing that day. And so you might see some pro teams that are in tier 2. If they're in tier 3, well, I mean, I don't want to say it.
Someone's having a rough day, yeah.
Somebody's having a really rough day.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'll see pro teams down in tier 2, and it's like, well, they had a bad day and it is what it is, but that's how they're throwing, so we got to beat them. Right. Yeah, and so doubles ends up being a lot of fun. You get good games after you get put into a bracket. There's usually 2 or 3 brackets for doubles. And then they all meet in a single final.
Yeah.
And that, if you go far, you could end up playing for, 8-9 hours straight, just doubles.
It's crazy.
You go home. No, not go home, but go back to the hotel Saturday night.
And then come back and you got an intense day of singles coming up, right?
Yes, singles. They do give a little bit of preference to the advanced players for singles, where you don't have to start as early. Usually, intermediate and competitive will be somewhere around 10 a.m. and advanced pro singles, we all play in the same division, start somewhere around noon. So to give a little bit of preference, is like if you're a little higher up, hey, here you go. You get to sleep in for 2 more hours.
Sure.
And that can go for 5 to 6 hours. So after that weekend, you're like, I'm done. Get me home. I wish I was on a plane. Stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's so
Hey,
much
Trevor.
fun. Yeah.
Hey, are you planning on playing in any of the pro shootouts?
The pro shootouts, I am going to attempt to go to 1 or 2 of them. I am not doing the one this weekend, since ACL State is this weekend for Wisconsin. But a couple of the others, we'll see how regional tournaments and things work out. It's often a Friday commitment, and then I'd love to play in the Open. That comes right after it. The first 5 have Opens connected to them. And then when it gets closer to Worlds, there are a couple that are just shootout weekends. I'm pretty sure I can fit those in. And those have a similar but a different format to Opens, where you get
Yeah, those
rounders.
are 10 round games, correct?
Yes, which is a lot more stressful, and I don't like
And
it.
that, did I hear right that it's $100,000 for the winner of that?
At the end of the season, after you get all the qualifiers, yes, it is $100,000 to no, $100,000 for the doubles winners, I believe. I think the singles winner gets 50 grand.
All right. Yeah, the money keeps the money keeps going up and up. That's every single year.
It is ridiculous.
It is absolutely crazy. And that's one thing that's really cool about this sport, Trevor, is that you show up at an ACL Open or ACO Open, whatever it may be, is you might just get matched up against Matt Guy in the first round. You might get to play, some of these guys who are the GOATs and the best players in the world. Not too many professional sports like this where you show up and there's the Michael Jordan of your sport, and at least you get a chance to compete against him. That's kind of a cool thing for a lot of players. Maybe not for you as a pro, you don't want to see him right away, but for some of the lower level guys coming up, they're like, hey, I got to play Matt Guy, or I got to play Trevor Kufis.
I don't think anybody's saying that yet, but yeah, it is really cool that, I mean, the whole slogan of the ACL is anyone can play, anyone can win, anybody can show up and beat Matt Guy. Okay, not everybody, but yeah, it is really cool that even amongst the pros, you can split us into like tiers of sorts of like either experience or how much success we've had at the pro level. Even me, still, I get a little bit of like the fanboy syndrome. It's like, oh, I get to play against, even though I'm technically at the same level that they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have one of those experiences recently. Atlantic City, I kind of played against a couple big names, and they're not having as great seasons. But I played against Jacob Trzynski. He was probably the biggest name that I played against. I definitely got a couple signature wins against Bob Vonch, Kentucky guy. Indiana. He's a great guy. Everybody's a great guy or girl. I haven't played against. Yeah, I have played against a couple. But yeah, this in wow, blanking. Salt Lake. I played against my third round winners game was against Jamie Graham, and right now there's maybe 2 or 3 other people above Jamie Graham that I'd say is like, it's terrifying to play against them, because you know what, they rarely have a bad game, so you know what you're going to get.
Right.
Second is, when are they going to make a mistake, and will I capitalize?
Right.
Which, even when a mistake does come up, like I call it big eye syndrome, where you see a chance, at the pro level, it's a chance for points.
Right.
Against some people, it's a chance for like 5 or 6 points. And, I can.
Right.
You just stop for a second. It's like, I can get points. But against like Jamie, I think I got 3 or 4 chances for points. Either I was missing blocks, so I didn't give myself a chance for points, or he'd miss his first bag of the round. I'd go,
Big
and then
eyes,
I'd also miss. Either that, or I'd go in, and then he would he would play his next 3 bags as a way to get back into the round and make sure it was a wash.
Right.
If he missed his first bag, his next bag you guarantee was a block.
Right.
He was not giving up points as he wanted to. But
What a
yeah,
great,
it's a fun time playing against those guys.
Yeah, great experiences that you've had, and the opportunities out there for everybody. There's so many places and opportunities to play now. I think if you're even in northern Wisconsin, the number of tournaments that are within 2 hours of us, even up here, is just crazy now. It's just so much
Getting
fun to
bigger and
see
bigger.
this game continues to grow, and we know it's going to continue to grow, and the money's going to get bigger. And not that people are in it for money, but the chances of having that experience of being on ESPN or whatever it may be, the online streaming, I think Trevor, the online streaming is even bigger than being on the network TV, because it gets thousands and thousands of views, and there's sponsorship opportunities, and that's online streaming stuff. People are crazy watching that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't done it that much myself. I'm being pushed to by someone else that lives in this house a lot, and I have the tripod. I have it all ready to go. I want to attach my phone. I just have to attach the phone, and I got to do it. But yeah, it's almost getting to okay, it's not quite getting there, but it's getting nearer to the point of football and baseball and being able to watch film. In a sense, you can go online and you can find people's games because they're live streaming on Facebook. Not a lot of people do it to YouTube. I can name a couple, like Supernet, Bella. Bella does it, but there are so many other people where they have their own pro page on Facebook and they share it to their personal page, and everybody else is sharing it. And so you can see everybody's games and how they're throwing. There's not too much you can gain from that. I mean, you can gain maybe the playing style a little bit. Is if you name a pro, I can probably name what bag they're probably going to play with, or at least the style of bag. That's about all I can get, unless I watch film. Was like, do they go for a lot of air mills? Do they like blocking and shooting air mills? Do they like rolls?
Right.
There's not too much you have to gain from that, and you pretty much have to play your game. But that's the cool thing, is you can go and see everybody's game, how they played, and good things about them.
Yeah. Well, Trevor, we thank you for taking time to join us and for sharing your story. I know that it means a lot to especially our Midwest cornhole players. They've commented to me a lot that they love hearing everybody's journey and how they got to where they are. And we wish you the best in your tournaments here the rest of the season. We'll be cheering for you. Maybe we'll see you somewhere, maybe a Broadfest or somewhere down the line here, and be able to match up and have a good contest. So Trevor, give a plug to any of your sponsors that support you, Trevor, if you want to.
Oh, heck yeah. Give me a second. I didn't realize it was going to get dark so fast.
Okay. All right. He's going to flip a light on.
All right.
All right. Good.
So, a couple sponsors. Looks like my camera's backward, but swag bags. Maybe I can. Swag bags. I got the shimmies here. I don't throw them a lot, but I have the shimmies. I got a couple of the others. So, swag bags is my bag sponsor for this year. They're out of Florida. Usually you can get a set of bags for around $75 a set. It's not that bad. At least I don't think. Look at Cornell Scenario. They're ridiculous. But swag bags has got pretty much the range of what you want. We have a couple carpet bags. We're revamping a carpet bag right now. We're just waiting for the stamp approval on it.
All right.
We've got our Surefire, the Shazam. You'll hear me yelling at tournaments.
All right.
We've got the Ruby. This is your pro sniper style. Wicked, I think like 357. The Shimmy is our all slide. We got carpet bag, the Emerald. It's like pro advantage, really big. Quite a couple others. It's been wonderful. My favorite lately has been, I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera, but the
Yeah,
Fantasy.
cool.
This is your Reynolds Victory style slow side and pretty close to fast side, which is why I've loved it. It's the bag I qualified with
Nice.
to be a
Nice.
pro, and it's the one I found a home with. And so they've made one now, and I've been loving it. I can flop with them on slow boards. I can play best slide game I've ever played on a fast board. It's
Nice.
wonderful. So then King's Throwing as well. Wonderful apparel. Really comfortable. I believe this goes through King's Throwing, even though it's on swag. Uh, and then also the boards that we make. My dad sponsors me. Three Shorties Cornhole. Some of the best boards in the Midwest. I would argue the best, but that's a little bit of bias.
All right. And you're kind of centrally located there too. You can get them to people, and yeah, you got a lot of.
Yeah, we're within 2 hours of most places in Chicago. We can get boards up north if we have to. I believe we're actually delivering some to a couple guys up near Hayward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty shortly here. And then also outside cornhole sponsor for this year, JBS Construction. One of my dad's friends, Brian Stefan. He gave me a bit of a sponsor. Really nice guy, and I can't thank him enough for that.
All right. All right. Very good, Trevor. Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure to get to know you here and talk to you a little bit. We wish you the best. We'll be cheering for you, and good luck to you in your cornhole career. We'll see you down the line. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us,
having
Trevor.
me on.
All right.
It was a
Thank you,
wonderful
Trevor.
experience.
All right. I'll let Trevor check out himself there now. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk more about the Restore You Classic. Tons of sponsors. We got Eddie's Bag Reviews coming with his 4-camera system now to live stream it. We got a little taste of that at North Metro last weekend. We streamed that on the Northern Wisconsin Cornhole site, but give a plug to these guys, Al.
Jeez, I keep losing you again, but yeah, so Restore You Classic, June 10th and 11th, we have the Wreck-It board raffle. We got a preview of the board from Kyle, and it's pretty amazing. I think it's pretty awesome. I think that's going to go over real well. We're going to have lots of bags to raffle off, and lots of games going on. The long shot, the Essential Shooting Supply long shot.
Yep.
Northwoods Realty is sponsoring the bomb box, which we'll be doing several times Friday and Saturday both, and let that progressively grow, hopefully. And then we have all of our board sponsors, which I really don't have it all in front of me here, so I'm not going to try and name it because I'll leave somebody out for sure.
All right, I got quite a few of them, so I'm gonna bail you out here. Of course, Restore You, Patchouli Garden, Jay's Automotive, Master Care, H&R Block, the Lanes, Northern Lights Inn, Tom Miller Electric, State Farm Insurance, Diana Skowinski, our agent there, Park Falls Builders, Hodag Cornhole, Carpet City out of Rhinelander, St. Croix Rods, Terry Hansen, Lucky's Cornhole. We mentioned Essential Shooting Supply, Ruthless Bags going to donate some bags, as will Lucky's. Wreck-It Boards, got a lot of different people who are donating some bags. If people have even used bags and they want to donate it to benefit the local Little League and the Children's Miracle Network, Big Daddy Cornhole 98Q will have some brewer tickets also there. So it's going to be a big weekend. June 10th to 11th. I am still challenged with those numbers. It's that weekend of June 10th.
Really, it really shows how great our community is, that it's really easy to get people involved and to sponsor the tournament when it's going for a good cause,
Exactly. Well, just a couple of tournament mentions this coming weekend. If folks are listening to this before this weekend, the Merrill tournament, real nice one at the VFW there. The K9 down in the Wausau area has one. Trevor mentioned ACL State going on in Madison. Some other ones coming up for you guys around the Midwest. Well, there's a Mercer Regional for the ACO Sunday the 22nd. You've got the Mad City Bratfest the 30th of May down in Madison. The Tailgaters over in North Branch, Minnesota has one on the 29th. Chilton has one May 28th. There's tons of others. There's one in Oshkosh June 17th. That is a big ACO event that anybody can play in. Hayward Muskie Fest is coming up. There's Flambo Rama. I know Jordan and the folks down there in Stevens Point have a Badger State game qualifier that weekend of June 10th and 11th. And we always do what we can, Al, to update those events on the Northern Wisconsin Cornhole Facebook page too, right?
Yep, and the Hodag Cornhole Big Brothers Big Sisters tournament, June 25th, I believe it is, at the Woodpecker
Yeah,
Bar.
that's Sunday at Woodpecker. I keep forgetting about that because I have a wedding that weekend, but my son will be playing there. June 26th, I think, in Rhinelander, that one is. So you can check out Northern Wisconsin Cornhole Facebook page. There's Hodag Cornhole. There's Hayward. The folks over there are doing a good job of building that group over there. So I want to remind everybody again, be sure to comment, subscribe, and comment for a chance to win a set of Game Changers courtesy of Frank Modlin. He's also going to throw in a allcornhole.com shirt and hat or something to the winner, and we'll draw for that. Our first show after Memorial Day, we'll draw for that. So just comment on the anywhere in the field. Hit subscribe, please. We're at 153 subscribers, I think now. So we're getting there. We're on our way to 1,000. We'll get there eventually. Share this with anybody. Unsubscribe, resubscribe, whatever, prescriptions, whatever. I don't know. Just somehow find a way to subscribe.
Maybe we need to stir up some controversy, bring some people in.
Yeah, tell your grandma to subscribe, even if she doesn't watch cornhole. We won't bug her too much. So the Restore You Classic, June 10th, 11th, and again, I want to thank Cisco and Josh at Ruthless Bags for helping to be a sponsor of our team also. So Al, anything you got before you head out turkey hunting tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning, daylight.
All right, he's got the clothes. You sleep in that camouflage
All
too,
right.
just in
See ya.
case.
What was that?
You sleep in that camouflage too, just to get in the hunting mood.
Yep.
All right, Al. Good to see you.
All right.
All right, Al's kind of cutting out a little bit here. We're hearing him, but he couldn't hear us. But thank you for tuning in. We'll have another show coming up next week, folks. Next week, we're gonna, speaking of stirring up stuff, we're gonna have for you the top 10 cornhole players from the state of Minnesota. List is being compiled by a group of people that we will not reveal from all around the state of Minnesota. So we are gonna next week have,
somebody stirred up with that, huh?
yeah, top 10 players in the state of Minnesota, and there will be an OIL list also, outside looking, OOLI, outside in, okay, OLI, outside looking in list also on that too. So that should be interesting. You don't want to miss that. And the following week, we'll have the top 10 players from the state of Wisconsin. So, all right. See you, Mr. Baghdadi. Good luck hunting.
All right. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks for tuning in, folks, for another edition of the Cornhole Insider Podcast.